Okay, people, today is December 14th, Saturday. I'm going to go out and set 3 traps today. I'm going to do a little different. I'm going to break it down as far as what I'm doing, how I'm doing it, why I'm doing it, things I'm using. I got a lot of questions about stuff like that on my last videos from early December. So I thought I'd break it down a little different this time. I'm only going to set 3. I'm just going to set 3 traps today, and as I run them, I'll set a couple more each time. My back's kind of jacked up a little today, so I'm going to do what I can, and then I'll just I'm going to try to explain every little step. So my friends and people that follow me and stuff or whatever that have questions about how to set, where to set, bait, stuff like that, I'm going to try to go a little deeper in depth with that as I do it, and explain what I'm using and what I'm doing. So come along and enjoy the video. Another thing I wanted to add was that obviously trapping season came in November, early November. It's now December. I ran a small line of traps, half a dozen, and I did that early before rifle season. I might have explained why I pulled the traps was because of rifle season and didn't want to spook all the deer and run whatever, blah blah blah. And now it's after, so I'm doing my trapping now again, and it carries on to the end of February. So I'll be trapping until the end of February. So we probably will have a lot more activity for this this channel because of it, the length of time that I'm running. I hadn't done it before this year running, because I was bow hunted and stuff, and it just cut into that, and I didn't want to mess anything up. But this year I kind of quit bow hunting and gun hunting, rifle hunting and stuff. So yeah, I'm running traps and focused more on bird hunting type stuff. And we're gonna April and I will run the trap line together. We usually do. She will on occasion come with me, but more times than not she does. But for Jason and Teet, these are the information videos that you wanted. I'm going to do a kind of a what to buy at the store type deal video, probably later today. I got to run and get some more bait, and I'll do that and put that on there for people who don't know how to even get started. I mean, you can watch North American Trapper or whatever on TV, and they kind of lead you to what you should do or how you should do this and that, and somewhat. But YouTube video might be a little more in-depth. I can be more in-depth, I hope anyways, to aid a future trapper and to how to go about it, how to start, what to buy, what not to buy, in my opinion anyways. So everybody's different. It's just my way might not be the best way, but that's how I do it. I have success. I have fun doing it. Gets you out of the house every day because you have to check them. So I'll get that video put up after I do my shopping. So I just wanted to add that to this video for today, so you know that it's coming. Thanks again. Okay, this might look familiar. This was one of my original sets, and I want to show you. something came and dug the bait out of one of the sets that I pulled. So I'm going to remake this set. I have a suspicion that a lot of the sets that I did do earlier were probably molested, or dug up, or at least something visited to the locations. The thing is that it may not produce again, but it just might have been happened that something walked by and smelled something funny. But it almost can kind of almost work as a benefit, in my opinion. Now, this is all my opinions. It might be somebody might be different, but it almost like a feeding location. An animal might come back if they smell that same smell or a similar smell in the same spot. So there's a possibility whatever it was that dug that out will return. So I'm going to get set up here. This will be one of my first sets. And to explain a little bit, see this tree right here, all that area right there, it's kind of a point of you notice it, and coyotes, dogs. You ever watch your dog go out and he'll go to the first thing that's sticking up in the yard and lift his leg or whatever? But it's a point of, recognition, or whatever you want to call it, that is a potential spot for an animal to come by. They could be rabbits hiding in that stuff, or chipmunks, or mice, or whatever, and they'll investigate it. Now, I used to set right up in there. There's a down log that comes across that little creek right there, and bobcats like to travel on trees when they'll go the easiest way. They'll travel across them logs to avoid going down through the creek or whatever, and it's a good chance that you can snag a bobcat, which I have right there. But I've also caught coons, possums, turkey even, in that kind of spot. But as for right now, I'm going to remake this one set here, and I'll set the camera up and go step by step as I do it. But I just want to kind of explain what I'm doing remaking this set. And like I said, I have suspicion that other places that I've set will have been disturbed. And just so you have a reference, of course, the meadow you've seen in the previous videos, and then on up through there is the creek, and just the road, the side-by-side trail goes right up through there into the next meadow in the back. So a corridor for travel. There's also a road that comes up along here, an old well tenders road. So animals will travel that. And if they get a whiff of this, they'll come investigate. So yeah, let's get started, and I'll get this set, and then we'll move on to the next one. All right, we're recording. Got to leave my side-by-side running because for whatever reason it'll start early in the morning, coldest days, whatever. But when you start it and stop it and start it and stop it, it don't like to start back up again. Okay. Dig out my stuff. With the freezing and thawing, I'm pretty certain I'm not going to be able to see what did the digging here, but from the size of that hole, it looks like it was probably a dog of some sort. Coyote, maybe. Who knows? But we'll get this set. Now I'm cleaning out the hole where the old set was. Not sure if this was the same trap that was here or not. It doesn't really matter. I'll do a little clean out on this so I can drive her in the ground. Okay. This is the anchor. The anchor anchors the trap to the ground, so it can't be just, the animal can't just run off with it. And that anchor, that cable is kind of longer than I like, but pull it, kind of set the anchor so it can't go nowhere. Now, hope that's in view, but set the trap. Again, I would explain what kind of trap this is, but I'm not sure because it would say on the pan right there, you know, the brand and the type and whatnot. But from dyeing it so much over the years, I just can't read that unless I scrape it off of there. And with that excess cable and the swivel here, I just turn it around and poke it down in the same hole that I drove that anchor in. Now, setting this thing, that's probably set good right there. There's a little rock to it. Get that down in the ground there nice and tight, and just take your finger and poke around it. If you see it move, then you want to try to keep from that. That's the thing, is because when an animal steps on that, if they step on that edge, it can feel that movement right there, and then they'll get scared of it or whatever. That's in there pretty good. It's not the best because the ground's still kind of frozen on the top. Pack the dirt down in, get nice and tight. Now this is how I do it. Take the pan cover, lay it over the pan, and then if the ground wasn't so wet, you could sift this dirt back over top of it. But what I use is peat moss, and I'll mix some of this dirt on top of it to cover up the peat moss a little bit. So let me get the peat moss. This is my screed for dirt. I'll take take my peat moss. It's also kind of damp, but it'll work. And screed the peat moss over top of the pan cover. Till it's covered. You got to put quite a bit of this on there, because if it rains, which it's supposed to tonight or tomorrow, that peat moss shrinks. It's got a lot of air in it right now and stuff, so you think you got a lot on there, but you don't, because when it rains, it'll shrink down, and then the screen cover, the pan cover will show.
Trying to put a little of this muddy dirt on there, but it probably won't work too good. A little bit. I have some dry dirt in the garage that I'm hoping will dry out so I can make some wax dirt with it and dry out a little better. I'm going to attempt to make some wax dirt this year. Wax dirt just aids in it not freezing and the trap not freezing in the ground. You can put calcium chloride or calcium chloride or whatever it is, road salt pretty much, on your set to keep it from freezing. But it's hard on your traps. But I'll use it just to keep it from freezing. Now, we got this big hole right here where the bait was from the last set earlier. So what I'll do is I'll dig it down in there, make that hole a lot bigger, deeper, and then we'll pack some bait down in there. Oh my gosh. Okay, that. I use the same rod that I drove the anchor in with. Oh, I'll dig that down in there. Make that a big hole down in there. Oh. And then we have this bait. It is called Mouse Special Bait. The original Mouse Special Bait. I get this from my the gun guy in town. He carries it. I have a lot of luck with it. It's just kind of like ground up mice, I assume, meat, whatever it is, but it's got a really sweet smell to it. Let's leave that stick down in there. Do that. This is Ready Red fox urine. I'll put some of it on there just to cover some scent. I just pour a little bit here and there. I'm not going to put any lure on this yet, not until I think we need it. But see this alleyway right here where they could get into that? I'd like to lay something right there to make them kind of go around that to get down in there. So let me find something to lay right there. Oh, I'll put this other stuff back up. Doesn't have to be anything too substantial. Just needs to divert their travel path more towards the pan area than anything else. See? That'll work. Now they'll come in this way. Chances are they'll step on that, and hopefully we got them. So there that is. We'll move on to the next set. I think I'm only going to do 2 today. Yeah, fingers crossed we catch something in that one. Okay, we recording? Yep, looks like it. I hope the speaker's still picking up good. We're going to set right here. Yeah, that looks good. You can see pretty much all that area right there. Okay. Let me see what we got to deal with here. Well, I'm going to guess we did get dug out a little bit because that looks awful messed up through there. Say the coyotes came or whatever critter came and dug us out. Another thing, with it being December and it gets cold and then it gets hot and then it gets cold and then it gets hot. Well, the traps like to freeze in, and you can see the ground is soft right here, but it's wet. It's really wet. My thinking is where the sun's hitting is going to be a better spot to set, because it'll thaw out. If I set on the shady side of the hill over here, chances of it, you know, not thawing out during the daytime are at least are less likely to happen. But setting like this in the sun gives me a better opportunity for it to thaw out and catch. Frozen traps don't catch. Let's see what we got here. Okay. That's the thing, so I can get my other driving rod for this one. Got us a pan cover. Much bigger pan cover. Whoops. Dropped my much bigger pan cover. There we go. Okay, this has a different type of anchor on it. This trap here, this big one, it's a big trap. It's more for dogs, I guess, coyotes. But I have this fang, it's called like a fang type trap, and it takes a different type of rod, and it just basically drives in the ground, and then when you set it pulls it sideways, which makes it harder to pull it out. So I use these, but as you can see, they bend up and they get all twisted, mangled, and I don't like, they're not really good for a second use or reusing. As long as I could get them out unmolested or unmangled, then I can reuse them. But a lot of times they come out, they're completely folded over or hard to get straight again. And how I set my anchors is kind of based on how it's hooked to the trap. If it's on the bottom of the trap, I have to set in the bottom of the hole that I want to set in. But if it's off to the side like this one, I can kind of angle it off to the side some. This trap's a lot bigger than the one I did have set in this hole, but it still catches, and it's nice and easy 'cause it's big. But now what I'm doing here, I lift that jaw up and I try to set that pan flat without springing it, so it doesn't protrude too high above the set itself. And then of course the pan cover goes on, and I add the peat moss. Probably should have dug that a little deeper, but we'll let it go with that and see what happens. The reason you put the pan cover on is because when you sift dirt back over, a lot of people don't use them, I use them, but you don't want dirt underneath that pan under here, because when the animal steps on it, if you get enough dirt under there, it prevents it from going off, and then you don't catch the animal. Some people use wax paper. Some people use, other methods, other stuff. I've even got where I didn't have a pan cover, I'd use a big leaf. Anything to keep the dirt from going underneath of that will work. Like you get a big maple leaf or big sycamore leaf or even some oak leaves, you can get it to cover. Now, kind of smooth it out with the level of the ground. Frozen dirt. And what I'm gonna try to do is make some of this mud sift on top of there. I really don't see that happening, but we'll try it. It's just too wet. A little bit coming out, isn't it? I see all these guys on TV trapping and setting, and they just do this a few times, and they've got a whole heaping pile of stuff on top there. They must be just straight up in sand. West Virginia is just nothing but daggone mud. See, mud. But it covers, so we'll keep going. I mean, you can use regular dirt, but that's not hardly enough, I don't think, to cover that dirt wise, but it looks good enough for me for now. It's just, it's so hard to get good dry dirt unless you go dig it out of the hillside right now. Okay, again, I'm out running low on bait, so I'm using the original Mouse special bait. This will be our bait that goes in the hole down there. Let's pick up a stick and put a big heap and glop of that crap in there. I might put some scent lure on this hole just to see if it causes any different reactions. Pack it down in there kind of tight. Okay. Ground's frozen right there. Put the cover back on that. Put a little more. Let's rearrange these rocks just a little bit. Pull this one in a little closer. Just make it kind of harder for any animal just to walk up and snag that meat out of there, that bait out of there. There we go. I'm still not happy with that. Looks too easy. There we go, that might work better. Put a little pea on the rock, just like a dog would. I got this lure, I don't know what it is. The labels don't stay on the bottles, but they get wet, so I'm just gonna put some on there and see what happens. Just kind of a lure to maybe bring a animal in to investigate, some kind of gland lure. There. Problem is, you get something stinky like that, you know how a dog is, they like to roll in it. They smell that, then they might just roll on that stick. And I've had that before, and then not set off the trap. But we're gonna go with that, see what happens. Some guys dig another hole and put lure down in it, but to me, the lure is there as a wind catch. Catch the wind and float on the wind, smell. Primarily the wind blows from this direction this way, so it's not going to be very good for that way, but there's a chance that the wind will blow up the hollow sometimes, so it might work that way. Okay, that trap is set, and we'll go back to the house now. We'll see what happens tomorrow when we come out and check. We'll set 2 more tomorrow probably. I have a couple of farms that I got permission to trap on, but it requires me to drive quite a ways, so I don't know if I'm going to do that or not. I might, just to get different ground, just to look at different ground. But that's it for now. Thanks for watching.